it is the audio mullet. I'm Doug TenNapel. I'm the creator of Earthworm Jim and there's a bunch of other junk. And I'm here with my best friend, Ethan Nicole.
How's it going, everybody?
Oh, yeah.
I created Axe Cop.
Yeah, and he created Axe Cop and a bunch of other junk. Writes for Babylon Bee and a bunch of other junk.
That's right.
And we've been friends for a long time. We're just...
yeah, we go way back.
We go way back. I'm 53, so I probably could be your dad almost.
Yeah. I'm 38. I think you're 15 years older than me, so you'd have to be pretty young to be my dad. But
I think you're catching up to me. I think the gap is getting narrower.
You think so?
I think so. You started having kids and you just got all kinds of gray hair in your beard. You're looking
I know.
over.
I'm growing up. There's a certain age you hit. Around mid-30s, I think. Everybody just kind of starts to even out.
Yeah. Because I'm kind of staying 42, even though I'm 53. I'm kind of staying 42 and you're 38.
I think when I met you, you just hit 40. You were constantly talking about hitting 40.
Hitting 40. 40's nothing.
So people may notice there's a missing voice. We should explain that.
Oh, yeah. So this is our genius idea. And this is brilliant. When you're putting on an entertainment show and you have to lose a voice, always get rid of the funny guy with the most experience.
Yeah, the best one.
The best one. Mike Nelson is preoccupied with a
very busy man.
Yeah, a criminal trial where he's in defense mode. So we just thought we needed to distance ourselves from him just in case, it comes up guilty. No, actually, he is so slammed with his schedule that he couldn't do Audio Mullet for a couple of weeks, and we thought we need to feed. We need to feed the lion.
Feed the beast.
Feed that beast. And the audience, It was making this huge screaming, sucking sound. All 7 of you.
Yeah, so we decided we're just going to hunker down. We're going to do a few episodes mic-less, see how it goes. And we don't believe the show can be what it is without Mike, but it can be something.
Yeah, we tried calling Joel.
Yeah, we tried to get Joel in.
But even he was unavailable. There's a Mystery Science Theater thing. We tried Kevin. Nothing. He didn't even answer. He gave me a restraining order when I called him. And who's the other guy? Pete? Something? Paul? Bill?
There's a bunch. Yeah, there's Bill. There's Trace. There's TV's Frank guy.
I asked Mike if we could do Bridget Nelson to take his place, and I got no response.
No reply.
I take that as a no.
Yeah, well...
She's
so
funny.
It's us, just the two of us,
and bubbly and pretty and all that.
Yeah, his wife's awesome. We do got to get Bridget on at some point somehow.
Yeah. So just us. So, do we do chit chat first, or do we go straight into our first subject? Let's talk about this week. Let's pretend like this is natural and normal.
Okay. Yeah, we're so lost with that Mike. He guides it every time.
Yeah, he's a host. He held the whole.
He's so good. Yeah.
He's like the carpet in the Big Lebowski.
On track. Right.
He held the whole room together. Okay, what'd you do this week? Chit chat time. Don't tell me funny stories about your kids, because all the single people it really makes them feel bad for being incels. What did you do career wise that's interesting? What happened this week that was huge, where money just came pouring in?
I think the biggest thing that happened this week is that we officially have a Babylon Bee satellite office. Like, they rented an actual space here in SoCal, where me and Kyle are going to be working out of, and we're going to be doing our podcast out of for the Babylon Bee. So we're not working out of our hot garages anymore. So
you actually found an office space. And guys, if you want to check out the Babylon Bee podcast, just look it up on, is it on
Babylon
iTunes?
Bee.
On Babylon Bee.
Or on iTunes or any of the platforms.
I went and clicked on it on the website, and a bunch of spam came up. Does he do all those spam ads? I'm like, close.
Because we have our subscription now, the paid subscription.
Yeah.
Yeah, the people who aren't paid, you get pretty hammered.
Yeah, I got hammered. I was closing pop-up windows faster than when I went to
videos.
Yeah, it's like a porn site. Okay. So what did you do for Babylon Bee this week? Did you work? Did you do any? Did you write anything? Did you draw anything?
Oh man, it's all a blur. I have to look back or whatever. I mean, I did lots of Photoshops. It's not exciting to talk about. I'm trying to think of what was in the news. I wasn't ready for this question.
You guys always throw out an AOC a Biden. You make fun of the church, the bride.
Yep.
You make fun of the Bride of Christ.
Oh, we talked to Kevin Max from DC Talk on our podcast. That was fun.
Oh, cool.
Talked to the guy that goes ho 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 on Jesus Freak.
Yeah, he's good. Doesn't he live here in Tennessee?
Yeah, he does.
Dude,
you guys could hang out.
I should go hang out at his mansion. I think he's up in Brentwood.
I always liked him because he's. Oh, is he?
That's like the big Beverly Hills of Tennessee. It's like they water their lawns with Perrier over in Brentwood.
Yeah, I like how he sang like kind of like R&B style, but like grunge. He was like Kurt Cobain, like R&B Kurt Cobain.
R&B Kurt Cobain.
Yeah.
Okay,
he's like Kurt Cobain if he had singing lessons, really good singing lessons. He's a good singer.
Yeah,
anyway,
Kurt Cobain with singing lessons would not be Kurt Cobain.
But my dream, my dream guest or not guest. Here's the thing. I don't know if our listeners even know who this is. Carmen.
Yeah, Carmen.
Oh man, Carmen. Just look up some Carmen YouTube videos. It's gold.
Okay, I'll explain.
Carman.
Carmen in the 80s was a Christian singer. I think he's kind of Pentecostally, but this like tacky Italian, over the top, hyper dramatic.
As tacky as it can get.
Yeah.
Just like so cringy, awesome.
Is he tackier than the Salem radio breathy guy?
Oh, that guy.
We gotta. I want that guy on.
The answer.
The answer.
The answer.
Hannity. We have the truth.
Yeah.
What are the weird taglines they do though? It's like, you thought you'd beat us down, but you didn't.
Yeah.
The answer. Sean Hannity.
That's for all you Southern California AM radio listeners.
Yeah.
Or I guess I don't know if he's more than SoCal. I guess
I think he is. I think all the Salem, because I've been on a Salem outlet out here, The Answer in Atlanta. I was on one of their shows, and I think he was doing interstitials. I'm like, oh, it's breathy guy.
Yeah.
You thought you were cool, but you weren't.
Yeah.
The answer. Sean Hannity.
Yeah, I remember when Obama was president, he'd be like, Obama says that he's going to raise taxes, blah, 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 blah. And it sounds like you're just a crazy uncle, like talking under his breath.
He said you could have your own doctor.
But we know the answer. So
I love that guy. I don't know who you are. Can we have him and Carmen on the same show? Carmen's songs are always like addressing the devil. He's like,
he has one called the Champion or whatever. He's like, and it's about him boxing the devil in the boxing ring, just like punching the devil in the face.
Yeah. He's like, I'll tell you one thing, the devil. You're going to hell. I'm Carmen.
Yeah. And if you look up, because that's what made me think about it, was there's a video with DC Talk, and they cross over with Carmen and do a song called "Addicted to Jesus." It's during like the drug war stuff, like the drug war on drugs.
Yeah.
And so they're acting like Jesus is their drug, you know.
So did you bring that up with Brentwood guy?
Yeah. Yeah, it was really funny because he's like, man, that whole time was a blur. I probably just got put on a van and I just suddenly appeared and I realized I was in a video with Carmen.
Was that the proudest moment of his life? Did he check off a bucket list in a video with Carmen?
He said he didn't even really know who he was at the time. It's just it all was happening so fast.
Then he realized he was like
in the new episode of the Babylon Bee podcast.
He was like a singing televangelist.
Yeah.
Okay. What
are we talking about?
We
talked about a bunch of topics. I don't know what one we actually picked for this episode.
Oh, this one's is Doug a homophobe?
Okay. Perfect.
Greatest
This is
title
a question
ever.
that comes up a lot on Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah, usually it's not in question form. Usually it is a statement of fact.
Yeah, it's
Doug
a statement
is
of fact.
A homophobe.
Yeah, so this topic was kind of my idea because I felt like it'd be great if whenever this comes up, you just go listen to episode number, whatever number this is. I don't know. I have to look at my list.
Make up a number.
It's like 18 or 19.
And after they get through all of the Carmen DC Talk breathy crap, they'll get to the question that they're looking for.
Right. It'll be at minute whatever this is, and then we'll start talking about it. We'll say, okay, you can decide for yourself, but let's let Doug and even me, I mean, anybody who professes any amount of Christian faith gets called a homophobe on the regular.
Yeah, all of us be homophobe. So
yeah.
So first thing I want to ask you is, because I don't know a lot about it, but what's it like being the friend of an alleged famous homophobe? Like, do you get crap from all your little twee illustrator web comic friends?
Every once in a while, if I share something with you directly linked, there's almost always one or two people that pop on there and say Doug TenNapel is a despicable human being and a homophobe and blah 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 blah.
Oh yeah.
And then I'll always get on there and reply something like, one of the best people I've ever known. He's the best man at my wedding, and if you don't like him, I don't need you to be my fan.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't need
you're
you
one
that
of the
bad.
few friends, by the way, who ever outspokenly defends me. Scott Derrickson's another one, by the way, but you're one who consistently just,
I think he's braver.
Yeah, he full on cussed out
He
a
has more to
journalist
lose.
guy, and he's even a leftist. He's even a leftist.
Yeah, he's far left. Yeah.
He's putting out all kinds of skin in the game, but you put out skin in the game. Most friends are just silent because
Yeah.
they're cowed into fear. They're like, I can't, I'll just pretend like I didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
And I judge them. I know they're half friends. They have to virtue signal.
I mean, to some extent, it depends, because there's two sides to it, and I'm not completely defending them, but I think you choose to be not just outspoken, but you often will, you use coarse. You choose to do it coarsely sometimes.
That's right.
You say, and you put it in ways that those of us who agree on a lot of stuff that you believe, we still would choose not to attack the topic in the way that you do. And
That's right.
Sometime in a way that you're actually, which I know you so well. I get what you're trying to do. You're trying to bring out a reaction, or
That's right.
you are trying to expose a hypocrisy.
Particularly in the crassness of our culture, the way that they describe evangelicals, I might describe gay marriage to see if it's really about the subject matter or the presentation. So I'll use their same presentation often to talk about their sacred issues.
Right.
And they will,
You're
of course,
using their
always
crassness
attack
back at them, right?
Yeah, they always attack the presentation. So if I go back and they talk about evangelicals or fundamentalists as whatever, and then if I go back to them and say, that's rude, they go, you're just you church lady, get a sense of humor. So it's a test of hypocrisy to answer them back in the language that they use, that they commonly use on every other tweet describing everything they disagree with.
Right. And so I think that there's some people who, they would defend the idea maybe, but
Yeah.
they feel like they're defending the language or the joke or the way that you did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
In
I'm not
I'd say
helping
there's
myself.
some people that would maybe be afraid to kind of get on that more, because then it's like, I kind of get that.
Yeah.
But
so here's my thing though. I agree on that count with them that it is wrong to speak coarsely with fellow images of God, and we all ought to have more decorum and more gentleness and more manners. So if they're saying that, then I only want them to go through their entire Twitter feed and their entire past the same way I will of mine, and apologize for everything they've ever said against Trump, pro-lifers, evangelicals, anti-evolutionists, all of that.
yeah,
right?
no, I get it. It's always that it is one-sided. It's always we're the ones who have to be the kind ones and the gentle one. They're
Like I'm a
justified.
homophobe.
They feel so justified in their attacking.
But is every non-believer a Christophobe? So to
Right.
admit that you have an irrational fear of Christianity is why. Not that you have a point, but that you're a Christophobe. And they go, oh, that's a made-up word. Well, so's homophobe. It's not an actual medical condition.
Well, I think to even have this conversation, you have to reject the cultural mandate at the moment.
Yeah.
That there's because it's so I'm like lost for the right words here, but it's so it's like, I don't know, policed, culturally policed.
Yeah.
It's so boxed in. Like if you're gonna say, you can either say rainbows and I love gay marriage and I'm so happy and it's the same thing as every other kind of love.
Yeah.
If you say anything off that track, you're pretty much at risk of being called like an ostracized homophobe. Like anything that goes off that.
Yeah.
So if you personally, but I think that there's a lot of more rational people, probably a majority of people, but they're quiet because it's so hot right now, that would say, they're should be some discussion about, like, is a man and man relationship the exact same thing as a man and woman? Like,
Right.
is there,
Are they
can we not at
interchangeable?
least talk about it? Yeah, can a man just decide he is a woman, and is that the exact same thing as what a woman is? I think a lot of people question that, because these are all statements of faith of the religion of our time. And so if you are one of those people who is willing to budge on those things, which I think most rational people are, then I think you may have ears to hear on this podcast. If you're one of those people who is all in on the culture, then I don't think this podcast is going to help you.
Yeah, and that's part of Audio Mullet. We didn't explain what it means exactly, but it is a hairstyle that is way out of fashion, but at one time was very popular or was mainstream or was considered cool. And so we kind of consider our values very mullety in that they're out of fashion. And then we ask ourselves, but are they true? They're out of fashion,
Yeah,
but
are
are
they
they
true? And are they right? Yeah.
Because the mullet is correct. The hairstyle itself. Really, everyone should be well mulleted.
So what do you make of the term homophobic?
I think it is a completely made up, fake word. Purely
Dishonest.
It's dishonest. So as soon as someone uses it, they're already, if you argue on those grounds, are you a homophobe? You're already saying, no, I know that homophobe is a true word and a scientific term to be homophobic, and I'm not that. So you already legitimize a lie just by starting to defend yourself with it, which I won't do.
It's the same thing as racist right now. Like, the moment you have to stand up there and go like, oh, I'm not a racist, and here's all the reasons why, you're just giving them all this bait to go, oh, I'm not a racist because of this, and they'll flip it. They're caging you in either way. You either have to line up and agree on everything, or it just feels like one big trap.
Yeah, and think of all the ways that culture just wins the argument by taking over vocabulary.
Yeah.
Like, if you're born white in America, then you are by definition privileged. Or that if you have premarital sex with a woman on a date and she regrets it later, then you are a rapist. There's all, and I know these are huge exaggerations to make a point, but I'm trying to say something that's pretty incontrovertible because those are actual situations that have happened.
Yeah.
The idea is, if they can take over language and people don't have the philosophical core to know the way that logic works and reason actually works and the truth works, which is in and of itself a kind of a knife that cuts through the crap. If they've thrown that knife away by talking, acting, believing without rationality, then you've really taken away the tools to find your way out of what the cultural BS is throwing down on you.
Yeah. Yeah, and we talked about this in a previous episode. I think it may have been the last one, but you look back at every culture that's existed, and they've all been wrong on a lot of stuff, and they've all been sure they were right. And almost every culture, in like this narcissistic way, thinks they're the last one on Earth, or the world's going to end after them.
Yeah.
And so they think, they've hit this pinnacle of humanity, and then the world's going to end. So we're in another one of those, and that's one thing that makes me cling to my faith, is because there's this tradition of wisdom that has been made its way through thousands of years, asking what is true, what is real, what is good, in those simple questions, and kind of sticking to that basic stuff.
Yeah.
So for me, it's I'm not clinging to some weird new agey religion or something that, like, I'm not. It's that bedrock of wisdom.
Yeah.
That makes me not participate in my culture.
So using those old values that we have that are out of fashion but are true and everyone operates under, whether if they acknowledge them or not, that is also my defense. That is also my exhibit A of not being a homophobe, which is, number one, as a Christian, I am not only commanded to, but I'm convinced that other people are valuable and made in the image of God, that the imago Dei is perhaps the only thing valuable about us.
Yes.
Which is that we're even if you devalue it to a point of we're God's skid marks, even if we're at the bottom of that, those skid marks are better than being the skid marks, say, of cause and effect, materialist ideas that you're just like an accident in the bywater. You actually have more value even being a kind of accident of God or a damned person of God. You still have the imago Dei in that he created you. You have his fingerprint on you. So no matter how much I disagree with another person, let's say that I disagree with a homosexual, who's just one of a long line of millions of people, perhaps everyone in the world that I disagree with, including myself, that there's still something of value there, and that value is an absolute. That is the bottom line. The foundation for all of us is that being made in the image of God demands that you be seen as a certain way, which is ultimate value. That is what I touch. Like, for instance, my comics can't be more important than something that is made in the image of God, someone. My career can't be more important than the most scandalous person, right? If it comes down to my sacrificing a human life versus my career, that human life must take precedent. Even if I don't fully embody that ideal, I believe it to the core of my being. So that would include every homosexual I know, that every homosexual I know is made in the image of God, an absolutely valuable miracle of the universe. And I want to treat them and dignify them with that great treatment. And of course I fall short with a homosexual as much as I fall short, let's say, with a Catholic or a Calvinist who believes different than me. But you only get the death penalty for not treating a homosexual as not the highest respect in the image of God. But you'll get nothing but Scooby Snacks promotions and rewards if you treat evangelicals, Catholics, Trump voters as complete shit.
Yeah. Yeah, you talked about seeing a person in the image of God and how you don't live up to that, but it's like it's a standard that you set, that you reach for, and that you look to the Holy Spirit to help you get to. I feel like that is a big difference. Like that's we see the world as authored and with a point and with a goal in mind, a standard.
Yeah, a meaning, value. A God, a perfect being found it worth being ridiculed and died on a cross for.
Yeah, and so we see it as there's a version of life to be lived that is the best version, and there's other versions that suck. They're horrible. Which that seems like such a basic idea of reality to me. So our values say find that. Now I think that our culture's values say you find that in yourself, you make it up. It's whatever it is that you want it to be.
Yeah.
And that throws you off into a whole other track. And our culture believes just like we believe, if you go off that track, finding, if you give your life over to, even that's for me, that's like when it comes to gay marriage and stuff like that and the gay lifestyle, it's that in my values, I do really believe that someone who is gay sexually would still find so much more meaning in a family, in having kids, and even in the opposite sex as a friend or as a partner.
Yeah,
it's
totally
just because
agree.
I believe there's so much power and meaning in those things outside of just sexuality. Sexuality is, and so I think that our culture says you follow that feeling and you follow it down that path, and that's the greatest value.
Yeah, even if it burns everything else of value to the ground.
Right. So if you go off and like you move to you think you're gay, you move to San Francisco, you just like sleep around and go to all these different gay bars and just live the gay lifestyle out completely, like the way that however you want. That's just as good as if you go and you find a wife and have some kids and find out what a family is and live out your faith. And it's like,
yeah,
that's what I can't buy. I cannot say, oh yeah, those two are just equally great lives that are. And I'm not saying that the homosexual is a lesser person. I'm saying I want something that in my value system is greater for them. To me, that's love for them. It's not. Yeah. I'm not saying they're evil.
Yeah, and I would also say, just to buttress that argument, that we're both. I am both convinced it's true by using just kind of making a defense of family and things that I wish for other people, the happiness that I have of offspring and getting to live with a woman and committing to her for your entire life, that I don't think is largely optional for men. So one, I'm convinced of that. Number two is I also take it on faith that the Bible forbids it. And the Bible, I may not fully understand exactly why it forbids it, but I do know that I'm convinced of 95% of the Bible that also makes sense. And so this one that may seem odd, I can take it on faith. And people usually have that reversed when they accuse me of homophobia. They think that number one, I just blindly believe a Bible, and number two, I'm convinced. For me, they really are kind of a hand-in-hand thing, is that it's more than a coincidence to me that not only does it make sense, but also that my Bible is so devout against the idea of gay coupling, same-sex coupling. It really, from the very start in Genesis when it says, and God was walking with Adam, God was walking with man, but man was alone. And there's something about man being, even as Dennis Prager says, even when he's walking in the garden with God, God still declares him, it's not good that man is alone. So even God isn't enough for one man. So he draws out of him a proper helpmate, a friend, and he draws out woman, Eve. So I have to throw all of that out. I have to throw out the foundation of my faith, which, by the way, Jesus hanging on a cross and saving me also gets thrown out because it's built on the same foundation of truth as that entire book. To throw a piece of it out and start doing cafeteria Christianity where you pick what you like and what is socially will get you recognition or favor or whatever, and you throw out the stuff that people don't like. That's not the way my truth, my understanding of truth works. So I end up making a very positive case also against homosexuality, which is that this goes for single men too, that it's not good for man to be alone. That is foundational. And so even though there's two gay married people, two men or two women, they are, I believe biblically, they're still alone in a way that is foundational, that you need the other sex to complete you. Now that is not a revulsion of homosexuality, because I've been so submerged in homosexuality because both my gay friends and being an artist and being in theater and stuff, it was never shocking to me.
We both have people that we love absolutely who are homosexual. It drives me crazy to be pegged as a person who hates homosexuals.
It's absurd. It's absurd. Other than there's no reason for it, it makes perfect sense. So that's kind of the foundation of it, is the positive case of what I want for another person is I want for another person to get married, have children, and experience the fullness. And I want them to go to church. I want them to be involved in the church, the bride of Christ, to celebrate the kind of the victory lap of becoming a child of God. Like, those are things that are they're non-negotiables for me. And just because a culture finds those things so out of fashion that they will call you a name, that you're worse than a racist, you're worse than Hitler if you oppose these things, and they suspect your motives, that your motives must be that you are, that's where the phobia comes from, is you're terrified of the gays or you hate them. That's all I hear is that I hate them.
Well, it's what you are, right? So that's why you need to be wiped out, because you are a homophobe. It's not that you have ideas that need to be changed. It's that you're through and through this evil person, and we need to. And you're also not worth hearing from, because you're labeled just like
even this
racist.
episode, they just turned it off, so we don't. We can just turn it off now. But and that, by the way, the other thing is, like, if this is my argument against materialism, where there's a philosophy, right, that you are. Ethan, are not a person making free will choices, but that you are deep down in your DNA just responding to programming. And that the homosexual has been coded to like the same sex, that God made them that way, which is entirely possible. I'm only saying, I'm not arguing that there's coding there. I'm just saying that just because God makes someone something does not make it the defensible new term of good, because it's entirely possible that our coding is so ruined that we can become bad things, and you can't use your DNA as an excuse, that he expects you to transcend your DNA programming. But at the very least, I'm going to test that theory by saying, if gays are not morally culpable for their actions because their coding made them gay, then how am I accountable for my coding when I was likely coded to be a homophobe?
Right. If that's true, then it just applies to everybody, and there's no reason to argue.
Yeah, you can't impugn anybody's morality unless there's some kind of a choice.
The code's going to do.
Yeah,
it's
so
causing this conversation right now.
At the very least, I'm hoping we'll get off this whole you have no way to defy your genetic programming, and if you can defy your genetic programming, then maybe gays can go straight.
And if you can defy your genetic programming, that means that there's something outside of the programming that points to either a good or a bad, and then that leads to bigger questions. Is there ultimate good, and what is it? And that's,
And I would also, in defense of the homophobe accusation, I would say, look at how I treat homosexuals. The idea that the only moral good there is to declare their marriage the new standard. The idea that that's the only good, and meanwhile, the people that believe that try to completely dismantle my life by attacking you, my friend, for sitting in the same room with me, or promoting one of my projects. They don't want me employed. They don't want me to be able to feed my family. They don't want me to be able to express myself in the arts. The idea that is not hateful, or that is not some kind of Christophobia, true hatred. I would say the way that I have treated any homosexual or trans person is more loving than the way anyone on the left has ever treated me.
And because this is the game that's played, you will come against the philosophy that says that, a gay marriage is exactly the same thing, that dismantles your philosophy. Like there's a philosophy, there's a war of ideas here, and you will rail against that idea. There's an idea that you're fighting against. And as a cheat, I think it's very dishonest that rather than say, oh, you're arguing against our philosophy, to say, oh, you hate gay people because you said that. Yeah. And then they just leave it at that. It's because they don't want to argue back. And so that's
it's also because they're dumb, and they accepted that. It's also because they're dumb, because anyone who says that, they're not thinking for themselves. They got that from culture. So culture fed them.
So it was the more savvy jerks who kind of started the trend, I guess. But it was a good enough strategy that it's worked, and now it's become embedded in culture. That the moment that you say anything to argue with the philosophy, then you get that label.
And so we have to avoid that philosophy above all else, because even we on the right, we Christians, will be susceptible to that philosophy. The idea that the other people only disagree with you because they are full of hate.
Yep, they are
or
evil.
They are Christophobes.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to think anymore if you accuse them of that kind of bad motive. You don't have to wrestle with their ideas and see if there's anything about them, or treat them as a human being. You can, you can go riot at their schools. You can throw things at them. You can champion their downfall. And I just think it's really hard to kind of find it so delicious that bad people are dismantled, when I consider myself a pretty bad person and I've been redeemed and showered in happiness and blessings. I want that for them.
Right. Yeah.
Because what we have, the good things that we have, right, is not a reward for our good behavior.
Exactly. Yes.
All right. So that's am I a homophobe? Is Doug TenNapel a homophobe? You decide.
So if I would just, before we completely wrap it up, I want to imagine a homosexual person has clicked on this podcast. They are listening right now, and they just talk directly to them. I feel like I can't be any other way. I love this person of the same sex. It's who I am. You want to get rid of all of who I am. I mean, what is your response to that person in that emotional? I think it's good for people to hear you be human towards homosexuals.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, I'll go even farther than that. In that, of the homosexuals, every time I hang with a homosexual, I'm always interviewing them about homosexuality, and I'm always trying to get into their head and go like, is there at what age did it happen? At what age did you find out you were attracted to the same sex? And how intractable is that? Is there any wiggle room or movement or whatever? And of course, there's a whole variety of different kinds of sexuality. Some people are only are kind of homosexuals, and some people are bury the needle, from birth or whatever. And if I can offer them any empathy or something, I don't know exactly what to do with it.
We struggle with it like crazy as Christians. I don't know a single Christian that doesn't struggle with the. It's so tragic. Just the whole idea of that being something that's such a big part of you and having to reject it, and like it's not like this easy thing where it's like, you're just gay, and so I don't dismiss their suffering.
I don't dismiss their suffering. I don't dismiss their plight. I don't dismiss their struggle or even their philosophy of themselves. But I'll only say that I take a hard stand against lust and looking at porn. And I've done a ton of that.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm looking at them going, you should be able to overcome your plight, as easy as I did with porn or with
lust. Probably a thing you'll struggle with for your entire life. Just like I think every man can. We are screwed up sexually. Almost every man I know.
Not just sexual. Look at my horrible mouth that you've heard me just mourn over.
Yeah.
I want to control my tongue. I want to control my tongue. All the scriptures about control your tongue. It sets fire. So philosophy-wise, I'm on board with controlling my tongue. When have I ever controlled my tongue? So that might just be the same thing as a homosexual going, how can I give up the same sex?
Yeah.
Well, the one thing that you won't hear me do is defend myself and say not taming the tongue is the new good, or that watching porn is the new good. That might be where I differentiate myself with many people on the other side of this, where because they do it, they defend it as totally justifiable and the new good. That's probably the biggest places where we part ways.
Yeah. I think, just to conclude, I think I would really like anybody homosexual or who believes that we are homophobic and is willing to kind of hear us out, is that, for me, there's no hate. It's that I look at this person with complete love, and I see them with complete value, and that I want a thing for them that what I, in my heart of hearts, believe is the greatest thing for them in this life. So there's nothing more loving than that I can imagine. Yeah. They can disagree on that, and they can say, I believe I'd be miserable if I took that path or whatever.
Yeah.
But at least recognize that I'm coming from a place of complete love. There's no hate here. We are all sinners and messed up in all kinds of ways equally. I mean, it's all, we're all fallen. And that's where we come from as Christians.
If I hated you, I'd want you to stay a homosexual.
Yeah.
So like I wouldn't care. Or an unmarried man, I'd want you to stay single. I wouldn't want you to reproduce, and I wouldn't want you to experience the joys of conducting a successful business. It's like, no, the way I act is not hateful. It's as loving as I know how to do. And this is, I could be wrong, but I don't think I am.
And there you have it. Settled. Done.
Fact.
Drop the gavel.
Okay, you can introduce the next section. Do you mean to tell you what it is?
I don't know what it is. You wrote stuff down. We talked.
Something I think is terrible that everyone else loves. Are we doing that one?
I think, but you kind of put your own spin on it, which I think we might just go with your spin.
Oh, demanding perfection from stupid people, like demanding perfection from entertainment, or I hate it.
Yeah. So I don't know how exactly to word that. We are going to talk about how much Doug can't stand it.
Yeah.
That this culture demands perfection from stupid people.
Yeah.
Is that right?
So
in entertainment. I'm not Mike. I miss Mike.
Where's Mike? There's a Mike-shaped hole on this show. I'm celebrating it.
Weird.
I'm looking at that mic hole over there and just kind of loving it. I'm going to fill it up with a big rotted pumpkin and say, "There's
I
Mike."
could edit in a few mic lines here and there, so it doesn't feel so lonely.
You know, when he couldn't make the show, I was going to propose that Mike could just record that we could record us doing this, and he could record him at his leisure popping in, and we could just splice him in and not tell anyone.
Oh yeah, just send the recording to him, and he just pops in when he can.
Yeah, and just pretend, and then edit together, and pretend like he couldn't do the show, pretend like he showed up at the show. But that would probably be more work editing him in, anyways, with his stammering and all that. Okay, so here's the kind of the mullety take on that is that think about how uptight everyone is right now. Everyone's walking around like they have a giant Snuggie, like their underwear is just riding up on them big time, and everyone's commenting on it, right? Everyone hates everything. Everyone hates each other. Everyone's bothered. You can't put out a song without everyone jumping on it. You can't put out a movie without everyone just saying what they hate about it. You can't hang with another person without everyone dogpiling on it because they don't believe X or Y correct. And everyone's got to take a laxative because everything's imperfect. It's like, why was it that people like our dads, say in the early 70s, could handle imperfections in others better? Why?
Mm-hmm. Well, there was a video that just recently came out of the Democratic Socialist Convention. I'm sure you saw that.
I saw that.
It is amazing, and I feel like it encapsulated our culture so well because everybody's just interrupting each other, going, "Personal point of privilege." Personal point of privilege.
It looked like a Babylon Bee article. It looked like a Babylon Bee segment, but they were real.
And they would make a demand on everybody, and you have to follow it because it's their personal point of privilege. And so the first guy says, "Stop the chattering for me because I can't handle it mentally." And the next guy's like, "Don't use pronouns." He goes gendered pronouns. He
goes, "Hey guys, don't interrupt each other." And a guy puts his fist up and puts his point of privilege. Can we not use gender, whatever? Because he called them guys.
Yeah.
I go, how can anyone even communicate? And he was like this deep-throated guy who I think he was wearing a dress or a blouse, and he was like, "Hey, do we?"
It sounds like a dude, like an old dude, and then you look at when you realize you look down at the little person on the mic, it's like, oh, that looks like a school teacher. That was bizarre.
Like a school teacher got up with a wide back. I thought it was. I hate to say it, but if culture wasn't so tragic, I'm laughing so hard at what people believe, think, and say that it is outrageous.
We live in the time of, hey, this is what I want. I'm supposed to get it. Like I feel like that's even the attitude of the Trump presidency and a lot of the really hardcore Trump supporters, which I can't. That's always been the thing that turns me off the most about it. It's that this is our America. We're going to get what we want and we see. And we need to get rid of those people and their ideas. And
it's our standards, not theirs. But here's the problem. This is kind of off topic, but I feel like if we don't fight the left and if they win, it's going to be a hellhole. And they think that if they don't fight the right and if they don't win, this is going to be a hellhole.
Yep.
That's the problem is we've been given the luxury to construct our own world in our own little head in these incredibly, never been more prosperous, never a higher, longer lifespan, more disposable income, more technology at our fingertips, 4% unemployment, and people haven't been angrier in my lifetime.
To me, it feels like, like the more money you make, the more things you get taken care of. Then there's all these little things that you always were able to you just had to overlook. So to me, we're starting to nitpick all the because we have it so good, we're starting to nitpick all the little things that we think needed to be fixed or something. Not saying it's the right direction, but
you have four kids. You have 4 kids. And if it was 1972, when you didn't have the luxury of being an artist and you had to go and lay brick the whole day or be a mover, and you'd move an entire house worth of furniture from a semi into a house for your 8 to 10 hour work day, then you'd come home. You wouldn't have time to get on the net and just start cruising arguments.
Yeah, to me, it's like we all in America live in this giant, amazing, immaculate mansion together. And now we're all arguing over the interior design. We're just getting super tedious.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I'd go so far as design, because don't you think these ideas still are pretty foundational?
Yeah, I guess
the
they would be
arguments
arguing about the construction, but it would be like,
small government versus
we
large
should
government.
we should have an island in the kitchen. No, we need to go up in concept. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, yeah. So getting back to the subject of little things ruining big things and stuff, I watched Marvel, the Avengers Endgame with the family the other night. We saw it in the theater, but now we rented it and watched it again. And there were there's like three woke moments in it. The first one's when Captain America is in a kind of a discussion group, and the one guy is talking about going on a date with a guy. Mm-hmm. He's like going, I went on a date, and he vanished, in the Thanos snap. So they had to put that in. And the big last one is when all the women are going to go take on Thanos. It's like all the women Avengers. It's Valkyrie and Scarlet Witch, and they're going to go and kick his ass, and everyone's supposed to cheer, women. And a lot of my friends on the right are going, I hated Endgame.
Yeah,
it was so sold out and woke. I'm going, like, it had like 3 feminist moments in the whole damn movie. You can't enjoy it because, like, where have you been culturally? There've always been, it's like having 3 Johnny Carson jokes that made fun of your president instead of the other president. It's like, guys, you can't just like throw everything out just because someone disagrees with you a little bit for, like, under probably 2 minutes, 3 minutes of a 3-hour movie.
Yeah, it reminds me, it's childish in the way that, like, if I try to give one of my I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and we break off a piece of a candy bar for one and give the other one to the other one, suddenly they start fighting or freaking out that I wanted the whole candy bar or whatever, I'm supposed to get it. It's like they have this entitlement thing, and it's very childish to think in a country with such a variance of cultures that we're all sharing. To make a movie that big, we all got to pitch in, right? It's like
right.
So,
and the movie, if it's going to reflect culture, then it ought to reflect all of us. So I'm actually fine with 5% of it's gay feminism, but I just wish like 40% of it was conservative evangelical, like the rest of the country, and everyone would be like, you can't put that in there. I'm just going, look, hold up a mirror to society, okay? Why can't half of the Avengers support Trump? And fine, the other half are into Bernie or Hillary or whatever. Like, where's the Trump one? Why do they always they edit all our stuff out, and then they only put in their own? That's my only beef, is kind of the unfairness. But still, the culture is so illiterate and stupid and lefty that of course they're only going to put their side in it and not be a gentleman about the other. Fine. That's just where we live. Everyone is stupid. Everything is trash.
Yeah, I mean, I agree in the sense of you constantly see these things on Twitter. Oh, there was this one lyric in this song, or this person said this one thing, and now they're completely, they need to be banished from, all respect needs to be taken from them. Yeah. Or the movie shouldn't be seen. And I expect it from the left. It bothers me the more I'm seeing it from the right. It's like,
yeah, we're seeing the leftism and the left philosophy. This is what I think my biggest problem with populism is that because it is also illiterate. It doesn't understand some of the high-mindedness of manners and, like we said earlier, acknowledging the imago Dei in the other. The idea that you would tear them down or riot or boycott, be manipulative with the argument instead of try to win the truth. And then we're all watching our side lose. We're all watching our side lose, and we're going, we got Trump in there, and I voted for Trump. But like, finally, someone on our side that'll take it to him the way they took it to us. He calls them names and doesn't engage in argument. He just calls them names. Isn't that great? And I'm kind of going,
that's circling the drain.
That is, yeah, we are circling the drain, man. And I really, I'm my hope was always in conservatives coming in with some rationality. And now I think we've all given up too much of manners and valuing the other person and just kind of going easy with letting the other person live their life and things like that, that I just think I don't see how we find our way out of this. So at least personally, I can practice tolerance just so I don't just go mad.
Yeah.
Because that's why people are miserable. I mean, how can you have a good time when you just make your entire form of happiness, where you demand the whole rest of the world agree with your little constructed world?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just to assume that you're that right about everything is seems pretty mistaken.
Yeah. Well,
to really believe that you could like transform everybody and the world would be perfect if you just had control.
Yeah. My problem is I do think I'm right about everything, but I imagine I must be wrong about some things. I just can't tell which one it is. Is where I'll put
probably
it. So
true of most people.
That demands some level of humility and thought and being allowed to have people question what I believe.
Mm-hmm. The thing with the Marvel movie thing is I'm as interested in Marvel movies and talking about them as I am in like talking about the new Nestle candy bar that came out. Like I don't get as impassioned about them as people do.
Especially the white chocolate ones. Those are just lame. The new Nestle. Any white chocolate line, that's just false.
It's just candy.
Yeah, it's candy, but it's fun candy.
Yeah, no, I don't want to take it from people. They are passionate about it and enjoy it. It's kind of like sports to me. I don't want to take the joy people get from them away. I just don't understand like the passion and the Sure. But you do figure like if there's 50 million people following sports, you go there must be something. There's something there. Yeah, I think it's a flaw in me, not them. Yeah, it's like listening to hip hop. Yeah. I go there must be something there, but something going on there. I don't get pop country. Pop country? See, I like pop country too. All right. Well, is that our first non-mic episode? That's our first non-mic episode. And look, the universe didn't collapse. The humor collapsed. We'll see. Be nice. Yeah, the humor. Yeah, he pops the jokes in. He's the joke king. Stand-up comedian. That's an art form. He's the clown. Yeah. I like using the most degrading word you can use for a comedian. Mike's the clown of the show. He's the class clown. We're without our class clown. He's going to love it. I really think you're the class clown, really. If we're going to go with these tropes. Yeah. Mike is the probably more the teacher or the schoolmaster. I have the reputation of being the psycho, and Mike is way more psycho than any of us. He's so much better at containing it, though. He has this amazing self-control. We should just do an episode where we talk about Mike. We should do that for the next episode. Is called the Mike episode, and just talk about Mike, like him being handsome but completely psycho, like he's like Dexter. That's a good idea. Right. All right. Well, that may be our next episode, but this is this episode, and it is done. We're not making any promises. This has been the Audio Mullet. I'm Doug TenNapel, and this is Ethan Nicole. Audio Mullet. A mullet of audio smashing you in the face. Audio Mullet.